Yo, 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 what's good, what's good, what's good? You are now watching Duke Boys Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph, here with another solo dolo show. Hope everybody's having a good day and a good start of the week. Before we get started, and I always got to send a shout out to the sponsor. So if you're looking for a generous, no crash energy drink, get on those phones, use promo code JUK at w.com, DUBY.com, w.com. Use promo code Juke for 20% off. We're going to get you right. And make sure you go like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Need you to follow the Juke Network page on Facebook. Once I get to 100 followers over there, I'll be able to go live straight from the page. So for now, we're just using Twitch. You can follow me at KYNGRALPH. I'm using YouTube, Juke Network. Subscribe at Juke Network. We're getting toward 100 subscribers over there. Once I get 100, then I'll shoot for 500 is the next goal. But by the end of the year, we got these yearly goals. Make sure you subscribe at Juke Network. Follow Juke Network on YouTube and Facebook. Follow me at KYNG on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, at an underscore for extra Twitter. And let's get into it, Joe. Man, the stomach got me grumbling. Let's update this real quick because the Pacers just went up. They just won game 4. So it is Pacers 3 in the Eastern Conference Finals as we get into the playoffs. Oh, yeah, let's take a little sip of my drink. Yeah. Make sure, let's get to it. Eastern Conference, Knicks, the higher seed. Going to this, I just feel like there's so many missteps. And I just feel like when at one point I looked at the Pacers were up by like 20 points. And so it makes you like question things because last game, Jalen Brunson goes, not sit here and act like the Knicks are so much better without Jalen Brunson. I just believe the amount of minutes that they give Jalen Brunson is worth the bottom line. So in game 3, Brunson had about 31 minutes. When we go over to today, box score, pulling up the box score, Brunson had about 36 minutes, close to 40 minutes. And I just feel like you're taking away crucial minutes from people like Bruce McBride, Landry Shamet. And these are players, and Delon Wright, players that when they got the opportunity to play in game 3, they put big minutes. Now, they're role players for a reason, so you don't want to keep going to the well too much. You bleed the well dry. But I just like Tibbs playing his starters too much and not giving enough leash and trust to the role players is really where the Pacers team is thriving. When you look at the Pacers, they can't stop Siakam. Siakam with another 30-piece. They can't stop Halliburton, another 30-piece. He has a 32, 15, and 12 triple-double. And then when you go to the bench, Mather 20 points off the bench. Trying to see. Neesmith did play. So between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have 5 players in double figures, 3 players coming up with 80 points, at least 80 points. And we just saw last night when I get into it with the that if you got a big 3 that's going to put up 80 points, 90 points every night or on any given night, you put yourself in a position where you can win. And there's nothing really a team can really do to stop that. And so the Pacers playing at their pace, 130 points. How many threes they shoot? 32 threes. They shot 40% from 3. It's going to be tough to beat them when you're putting up that many points because they're not the greatest defensive team, but they play like enough team basketball to where in the end it's going to be a tough matchup for anybody. And so going into it, where the Knicks, their stars are playing too many minutes, they're too dependent on Jalen Brunson in those moments. And when Becky Hammond said that the Knicks can't win the championship with their best player being that small, she doesn't look that crazy right now. And I know they killed her for it because of how great he was playing last year, how well he's played in these playoffs. But in the end, when your best player is that small, it's only so much he can do to affect the game. But also, if you're too lenient toward him, like Cat had a good night. I'm not finna hold him against Cat, but then it's like they're not getting enough from their top players. Like when I went through the Pacers, they had a bench player that had 20 points. They had two starters had 30, and then some 15, 16s in there where you got Brunson scoring 30 on around 50% shooting. So he had a good efficient night. But then Cat, OG, and Hart and Bridges are the only people that scored double figures or even close to it. McBride had 3, Wright had 3, Shamet had 3. All 3 of them hit a 3-pointer, and that's about it. The only contribution they had scoring wise to the team. And I think that McBride had some big shots in 3. Wright played tough defense when he came in. Shamet gave them some energy. And that's just, for me, I just don't think that the Knicks played enough team ball to where they can counteract how heavy they are. And so I'd be surprised Knicks stretch it to 6. I got Pacers in 5. And on to the Western Conference. And so for different reasons, I think that the Timberwolves, watching this game made me realize like how much of a fan I am of SGA's game. He reminds me of those 2000s players like a T-Mac that could kill you from 3 mid-range and get to the rim. Kobe, another. Where this is where Ant's game needs to evolve. I think he started off where he had a to the rim mid-range game to where I seen this graphic earlier today where on average SGA shoots about 6 mid-range jumpers or makes about 6 mid-range jumpers. It was one of the two. It was about 5.8. So I don't remember if it was like if he makes that many or if he shoots that many. But Ant had one make or one shot, which as athletic as he is a problem. Where I wish I could pull it up because there was many moments. I'm sitting there watching the game with my dad, and when he splits the double team, instead of splitting and pulling up or shooting a floater, he's going into the teeth of the defense where you're putting yourself in a position of where someone like a Jalen Williams or a Chet Holmgren is to help on the second level of the defense. Long arms. Now it's a tough pass or a tough shot to where you could have, instead of taking an extra dribble into their chest, you could have just pulled up for a floater or that mid-range. And that's the part of the game where SGA is mad to where I hope and I pray that this copycat of the league starts copying this because I think this of basketball where we're so 3-point dependent. It's either threes or something at the rim. And that's just not how winning basketball is played at the end of the day. And it's good to see the Thunder. They're playing hell of a defense, although the T-Wolves still, even though the T-Wolves didn't necessarily, like their stars didn't play the best game. Excuse me, I need to take a swig of my drink. But Alexander did his thing. I think he put up about like 23 points. And I don't even think he's a starter. So trying to keep up with his cousin. Now they need to figure something out as far as him guarding his cousin because Yeah, he was getting out. I just feel like 40 points in 40 minutes. At some point, you need to probably do a little bit of what the third on to Ant-Man, but I think that they're not rushing or blitzing SGA the way that they should. He's the MVP for a reason. He can go off for 4 every night. Why not blitz him and make him need to take? If he is going to score, he's scoring over double teams every time. I just think they're doing enough from a defensive standpoint to bother the other team's best players. Jalen Williams has 30. Chet had 20 with 3 blocks. SGA has 40 points in 40 minutes. Now they take 30 shots, but still being able to have that output in 40 minutes that he played in 40 minutes of regulation, that did not go to overtime, that I think that the Timberwolves need to reevaluate what they're looking at from a defensive standpoint, how they're going to attack the Thunder. It's over at this point for me. I got Thunder in 5. I could see the Timberwolves just because of the way that the games have been played. The last game was the first game where that was not a blowout, but it was looking kind of blowoutish until the T-Wolves were able to knock some shots down. Ant was able to get back in the game. He hit some clutch jumpers. But if Julius Randle's not going to show up to play, it's Thunder in 5. And so WNBA season is up and running hot. I missed out last week. Life was lifing. I just did not feel like recording last week. But I'm back in this thing. We're doing our WNBA predictions. Rookie of the year, I got Paige Beckers. I used to always look at her name. I thought it was Buchers until she came back from the knee injury. Then everybody was calling her Paige Beckers. I think they finally got it right. Guard Dallas Wings, playing really good basketball. Now, the Dallas Wings may or may not be the best team, but I just feel like in the end, I feel like she'll do enough to be able to make a difference to where they should at least be in contention. Like tonight, they beat the brakes off of the Connecticut Sun, but the Connecticut Sun are winless this season. So they got their first win, 109-87. Paige, who has already had a triple-double before, had 21, 7, and 5. Enrique, 19 points. Trying to find a rhythm for those two, along with Dejanay Carrington, who's a heck of a defender, one of my favorite defenders in the W. So I got Paige winning Rookie of the Year. All right. And then most improved player. I can see this going one of two ways. Right now, I'm going to stick with Camille Carso, center out of Chicago, playing alongside Angel Reese. Not playing the best basketball right now. Her points, rebounds, pretty much statistical category, meaningful category is down from last year. But just at the beginning of the season, there are only 4 or 5 games in. She needs to get her feet wet, settle in, and learn how to play alongside of Angel Reese. I could see Sophie Cunningham as well being a most improved, or no, it wasn't Sophie Cunningham. Most improved, I can see Camila or Olivia Nelson, who is playing with the Connecticut Sun. She had a bad night tonight, but going into this season, looking at her stats, I think she was averaging like 6 points a game or something like that. Look it up. Olivia Nelson. So yeah, into her career, she averaging 4 points, where this year she's going to get a lot of burn, a lot of minutes, and a lot of opportunities. She's averaging about 12 points a game right now. So this is an award where I don't think they look too much into how much your team is winning. It's more of an individual last year to this year. They're young. They got rid of all of their OGs. They're rebuilding, so she's going to get a lot of opportunities to go for it. So I have Camila because I went into it, but now that the season has started and we're a week into the season, at least, I could see Olivia Nelson, Dota, winning it as well. And so, defensive player of the year, I got our girl Asia. I just feel like her versatility, what she brings on the defensive end, rebounding, blocking shots, affecting shots, being able to switch on the guards and making a difficult shot. I just feel like every year she's going to have herself in the running. I could see Easy. I think it's Easy. I think that's how you say her name. Up in Seattle, being this as well. But I do have Asia. Nafisa could very well win it again. She is very versatile, but for the sake of everything, I had her winning the MVP, and that's why I went with Asia to win Defensive Player of the Year. Because it depends, honestly. Right now, the Aces, and I'm getting a chance to go see them on Friday. I'm excited for that. But to see them play the LA Sparks, it's going to be a good game. Kelsey's playing good basketball right now, offensively. My issue with her was never really like a real issue with her. It just was from a team building standpoint. Defensively, you can get someone in that can give you what she offers offensively, but also get someone who's a better defender. Jewel Lloyd's not much of a better defender, but she is a better defender and at least a better scorer. She just has to get into the rhythm and get the chemistry right with the team that they have right now. And so Nafisa Collier, forward out of Minnesota, I think that the one-on-one tournament showed me a lot about her. I already thought that she was a heck of a basketball player. She very well could be the best player in the league, but right now I'm gonna give it to Asia. But offensively, inside, outside, defensive, winning basketball, I have the Lynx getting 2 finals this year after getting there last year and coming up short. So I can see her doing very well. Also, so with that, I got the Aces and the Minnesota Lynx. Call me a little bit of a homer. I can see Liberty getting there as well. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit as far as Caitlin Clark and what that means for them and their chances. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. They do have, I think they're tied with us for the third best odds of making the W finals. And so right now I got the Aces and Minnesota Lynx. I think the Aces will eventually hit their stride and make a real serious run in the end. Have a good influx of young talent off the bench, as well as veterans that have been in runs. I think the Lynx are prepared to go back to the finals again. I think this year they'll break through. And as much as it hurts me to say it, I do have the Lynx winning it all, beating the Aces in the finals this year. And I think I forgot to put it on here, but I am also going to do my prediction as far as first team. So first team, I got Caitlin Clark, guard out of Indiana Fever. Right now she is injured, so I do think this possibly could hinder some things. As long as she doesn't take too much time out, typically these WNBA teams really only play about 2 games a week. So if she misses 2 weeks, she should miss about 4 games, which would put her, I think they play about 40 games in a season. She's never missed a game prior to this in the W or in college. And so I don't see her being out too long. Right now, it is a new injury according to reports from the team, but I got Caitlin Clark with the first spot on first team. Alyssa Thomas going over from the Connecticut Sun, going to the Phoenix Mercury. Her versatility and what she does for the team she's on is nothing short of phenomenal. She's pretty much a walking triple-double every game. and she's a defender. So I do have her on the first team as well. I brought her up for my MVP. So the Collier, what she does, probably the most versatile player in all of the NBA, WNBA. I got Brianna Stewart, who is the W's version of KD, but a better defender at her respective sport. So forward out of the New York Liberty, Brianna Stewart, and I got Asia getting the 5th spot on the first team. Everything that she does inside, now working on stretching her game to the 3-point line, blocking shots, versatile all around player. And so first team, I got Jackie Young, one of my favorite perimeter defenders. Here for the Aces, I got Dejanay Carrington. I think she's the best on-ball defender in the W right now. I've seen some reports of Caitlin Clark being able to get this spot. I'm not sure. For me personally, watching her from a defensive standpoint, she could prove me wrong. This is one of the things where I have no hate toward a player. These are just my analysis, my predictions, and looking at a season. I've never thought of her as this strong defender. She has quick hands, kind of like reminds me a lot like Steph. Steph's going to put the effort in to play defense in order for her team to be able to get to the spot where a lot of people think they can be. Offensively, she's perfect. No, don't change nothing offensively except get the turnovers down, which so far this year she has. But defensively, can you put the effort in to stay in front of the person you're guarding? And passing lanes, quick hands. She does pretty much what Steph does to a T of the effort. Quick hands in the lane and playing passing lanes. High IQ basketball is what they say. And so I got Dejanay getting the spot. So Caitlin Clark, for me, is going to be on my first defensive team. I got Nafisa Collier, Defensive Player of the Year last year. Brianna Stewart, who is a shot blocker, guards well, has the versatility of a Nafisa, but not to the level this juncture in her career. And then the best inside defender to me personally is Aisha Wilson. I got her getting the 5th spot. And I'm looking forward to this year. I'm looking forward to this game on Friday as well. And so before we get into the fast break, well, let's just go straight into the fast break. So fast break, this is what we're doing here. Brock Purdy gets his bread. 181 million guaranteed. I know I'm a little late, but like I said, I didn't record last week. And so, is he worth it? And this is the part for me, like, I understand what it is, how important your quarterback is. But he pretty much kind of showed me that if you don't have the talent around him that you would want for him to have, or like that he needs, you can't really depend on him to carry these teams. And so I seen this thing earlier today where specifically they were talking about Dak, but it was tiers. And then so obviously you got in tier 1, you got Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, as well as Lamar Jackson. I feel like that tier, maybe Joe Burrow deserves to be in the tier a little lower, but even with Jalen Hurts and what he's done in his career, there was a significant jump once A.J. Brown and the help got there. It was just him and maybe a Smitty or like a Zach Ertz in a decent roster. He was okay. Still made the playoffs. Was about 500, maybe a game or two over 500. Then they get A.J. Brown, they get the Saquons, and now they're 14-3. And so there's a tier of quarterback that doing more with less that I just don't see Brock Purdy in that tier. I probably would see Brock Purdy right now. I would say he's a solid starter who has flashes of high-end quarterback play, where when you lose Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle, Trent Williams goes down, McCaffrey goes down, what does he really do? Now, is it a tall ass asking him to hold the ship afloat when all your best players are hurt and out? maybe. But nobody feels bad for Mahomes when he ain't got when his wide receivers is drop passes. Nobody feels bad for Lamar Jackson when his players get hurt. Nobody feels bad for Josh Allen. It was just him and by himself. Those are the things that make you an MVP candidate and puts you in the top tier where you're able to do more with us. And that's where, for me personally, I just don't see Brock Purdy as that guy. So for me, I probably would have gave him a lot less. But this is the reason why I'm sitting over here in my gaming chair and not in the GM chair. And so people's finally able to be eligible for Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, was taken off the MLB list. I think it's finally, I understand gambling and betting on the sport in a game that you're playing in looks crazy. The so looks terrible. But to my knowledge, from everything that I knew about the situation, and my dad's always told me about people for years. So I'm not necessarily saying that he was right for what he did, but I think that between him and Tony Gwynn and maybe Barry Bonds pre-steroids, those are the three best hitters I've ever seen take it back in any way, form, or fashion. In the way and in the manner in which he played, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So he's now eligible. We'll see what happens. You know how the journalists and writers are when it comes to this Hall of Fame voting. I don't quite understand how you take this person who has these amazing stats, but because the person does not like them, they will not get voted in. Shit makes no sense to me. Make it make sense. And so Raiders, NFL drops the schedules. Raiders schedule is released. Going through and looking at their schedule, I had them about, I'd probably say 9-8, 8-9-ish. I see them getting an opportunity to play for a wild card spot. And so let's look up their schedule. So to start the season, once the season officially starts, so there's 3 preseason games, or there's 2 preseason games. So I think we'll beat the Patriots. I think going through our first 4 games, we have the Patriots, Chargers, Commanders, Bears. I think we can go 2-2 with that, maybe 3-1. Next couple games, we got Colts, Titans, Chiefs, Jaguars, and Broncos. I think with that one, if we go at least 2-2 in the first 4 games, I could see us getting the Colts, Titans, and Jaguars. But if we go 2-2, we should be about 5-3. We could be 6-2, depending on what the record, how the cookie crumbles in a sense. Then we got the Cowboys, Broncos, Chargers again, Browns, the Eagles. That's where I think that we'll probably drop 3 out of the 4. So by then, we probably be looking at a 6-4 record, or even a 5-5 record, where we got Texans, Giants, Chiefs. And those are the where, for me personally, I got them at about 9-8, 8-9. Being a team last year, a more valuable and good-looking product on the field. I think they're much better this year. They have a competent coach, competent quarterback play, a great running back. I think Beck was going to be a good steal, solid number 2, even maybe be a number 1. What people don't realize about him is he played with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. at LSU and was the leading, the reception leader on that team. And so he eventually transferred to TCU, played good ball, drafted 2nd round. We'll see what happens this year. But Brock Bowers, for me, I think the defense is really, how well does the defense play? Can Max Crosby stay healthy? Can Wilkins get back and play good football? healthy football, and Tyree Wilson that we drafted on the other side. What ends up happening with him? How does he continue to develop? And so in the end, I do think that I got the Raiders going 9-8, 8-9. I would be really surprised if they win less than 7 games this year. So I'm gonna spend a nice little bit of time. I think this is, for me, is kind of interesting. So I think the whole thing when it comes to the Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese thing, they need to get it. I understand Caitlin Clark is this popular player. I understand that Angel Reese is not looked at the same ilk. I think that Caitlin gets a little bit too much praise, in my personal opinion. And I don't think that Angel Reese gets enough praise for what she is. Yes, she has holes in her game. They both do. Angel Reese's holes are a little bit bigger in her game. I totally understand it. But to act as if Angel Reese is this trash player that has no way, form, or fashion to be considered a role to Caitlin Clark would be disingenuous, because if Caitlin was that much better than her in college, she would have won a championship when she had the opportunity to beat her. She got her lick back, still didn't win a championship, gets to the W, and is the face of the W now. I think that the thing about it when it comes to RG3 and his statement is why it becomes such a big thing, and why it became bigger than what it was supposed to be, is to go and say that you know for a fact that this girl is hating on Caitlin. That's where it's like, all right, bro, what you mean by that? And while doing all this, the optics of everything, like, if I do these solo podcasts. If my wife is nowhere near here and I'm just making a statement, there's no way for people to bring up anybody but me, because I'm the only one in this picture frame or video frame. When RG3 goes to make his statement, his wife is sitting in the corner, sitting there looking like a proud mom in the background, with her kids opening Christmas gifts, coffee, and that's where that conversation gets brought up. Now, I think it was more so he's probably dealt with the issues that ended up getting, like, what it ended up turning into. I think he's dealt with that. I felt like he was triggered. I feel like when you're a black man in America, especially the history that blacks and white people have through history, to then use that to prop up like the constant jokes or the way that he looks at white women, is like, bro, you're in a way you're propping up people that if all hell broke loose, would they really have your side in this? But also to use that and your platform to then be like, well, I know this girl is hating on this girl. How do you know that? Like, at this point, you're just speculating. Like, give your piece, but to say, oh, I know she hates her, is where the conversation is like, all right, you know how this girl feels and what that's like. Because I've been following Caitlin Clark for some time now. Caitlin Clark was a popular player, but she was not as popular as she was until this happened and this happened from Angel Reese. Then it blew up. Now, her talent was always her talent. It did not diminish how good of a player she was. But the growth of the sport happened because of both of them. It just so happened that this person's not a little bit, but is better than the other. Because I don't want to make it seem like, as much as I love Angel Reese, she does need to grow her offensive game before we can start to put her in those all-star conversations. Eventually, I do believe she'll get there. That's why, for me, when she came out of college, I came on here and I said, hey, she should definitely go back for another year at mid-range, at least be able to knock down that 15-footer every time you shoot it, or at least like to where Asia, like how Asia is now. I kind of wanted her to pattern her game after Asia to be eventually get to where she is now. She's a heck of an on-ball defender. Can eventually get her way to shot rim protection. And so I do think that this is the part for me where when Caitlin Clark comes in and now Ryan Clark is now giving his piece on what RG3 said, now he's triggered. And it's no longer about sports anymore, where it's like how you're gonna be mad about someone saying something about your wife, and you put your wife in this picture frame in the background. Now, when we make these claims and these statements, and these are people that know each other. These aren't just random statements. Bro, you're the one that keeps talking about how much you love me, and that you bring up your wife's whiteness, both your previous wife too. So I think that is one of those things that when it sucks when we get to this point, because it's no longer about the basketball conversation. It becomes a bigger thing that wasn't necessarily anything said. That don't disrespect my wife, and it's like I never said nothing negative about your wife. I actually said you always talk about how much you love the fact that she's white, and she's more than that, and I've met her before. Those were the statements. To then take it to turn it into this whole like Ryan Clark is this racist or prejudiced person, because I honestly feel like people use that term. One is prejudice, one is racism. They're two completely different things, but one at the same time. Where racism has deeper implications than me just saying one statement. It's more of a prejudice where using it to be racist. But that's not here nor there. I'm getting out of here, y'all. Just wanted to get my 2 cents off. Hopefully, Kyng Clark can get back safely, or not, and get back healthy. And not too long. Probably missed 4 games. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. But thank you all for watching. I do got to get out of here. I appreciate you. Love.